no AI was used in this production.
It's just human beings chit-chatting.
We could do. I mean,
I like unpolished. That's my favourite thing.
see us floating down Niagara Falls or something. We can do that.
Mark Eaves, founder of Gravity Road. Thank you so much for joining us. What does after work mean to you?
After work means time to play. Play is sort of how we kind of create culture. It's sort of the source code for human behaviour, really. We try and take play pretty seriously at our place because it's how you learn, it's how you experiment, how you do these things. So, yeah, after work, it's time to play, but in a way that's kind of connecting you back with the world around you, really.
So Gravity Road has always created things people want to spend time with. You've done this by being obsessed with audience data. How people are spending time, where they're spending time, and how to direct them to spend more time with an aim to help people spend their time better. Tell me more about how this has evolved through Gravity Road's 14 years.
In the time Gravity Road's been around, right, there's more tech, there's more content, there's more devices.
Overwhelmingly so, yes.
Someone talked to me the other day about the attention deficit economy, which is very true. If you take the start point, which is people's time is precious, therefore as a brand you have to understand how you can take some of that in a way that is rewarding, and how increasingly your ability to do that is going to be predicated on you understanding all the platforms and technologies that those people are spending their time on. That has sort of been a constant. I think we kind of felt that very early on. It's just multiplied and become much, much more fundamental to brands. I've always felt the history of our industry is sort of the history of brands trying to catch up with how audiences are behaving. Constantly, audience behaviour shifts because technology comes in or new platforms come in. Think of how already you're using large language models for recommendations in a way that you weren't 6 months ago. We see it as our job to understand those audience shifts and marry that with thinking about brands, marketing, and allow clients to run as fast as audiences do.
What's the most surprising audience shift you've seen in the last few years?
I think the one that's happening at the moment is how quickly we will allow AI tools to make decisions for us. If you look at the younger audiences, sort of under 30-ish, the number of them that are using ChatGPT or other language models as a primary research tool now for recommendation, it's off the charts. I think, something that over half of people under 30 have taken some kind of product recommendation from a large language model. So, there's some pretty fundamental shifts coming on. And I think these are maybe bigger than ones we've seen in the past.
With Gravity Road, you've been going 14 years. What's the one thing you want to really achieve for either the people or the work over the next few years?
We're at a time where there's a lot of anxiety about these technologies and how they can be used. Being a force and an entity that is showing how these things can be put to great use for positive experiences, that is sort of very much we see our purpose in that within the world of brands and marketing and beyond that as well. It's going to be a challenging time in terms of how lives are and jobs are changed, but there's a ton of amazing stuff that could be done within that for the benefit of people.
I think this is the first time I've heard somebody say in a positive way that there's lots of change coming in our industry, because everyone's scared.
There's a lot of vested interests that always like to maintain the status quo. So I have less empathy for that point of view, because I think it tends to sit above people who try to keep things in a state of being in our industry that clear weren't fit for purpose for a long time.
Yeah.
I look at it this way, before the iPhone and kind of Web 2, there were jobs now that just didn't exist then. There were jobs now. We're going to go through a huge period of job creation of roles that just don't exist right now. I am fundamentally optimistic about this sort of stuff because I think human ingenuity on top of all of that stuff will always win through.
It does feel scary as somebody who doesn't know a whole heap about AI, but it does feel comforting to sit here with, you know, someone who is leading in tech and who's saying it's actually really exciting and it's really progressive and it's going to open up the door for a lot of new jobs, for a lot of new opportunities and for a lot of new creativity.
There's a lot of brilliant human minds wasted on stuff that doesn't deserve all of that human thinking and attention. And if you can free up human capital by replacing it with technology, that's a good thing. So I kind of my focus on that. It's like, let's free up humans to be doing even better stuff because of this technology.
You said we all need to spend less time writing LinkedIn posts, and more time doing the work. I couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, I live on LinkedIn, but I couldn't agree more. But does that mean you shy away from PR?
No, you probably caught me at a moment where I'd read too many AI-generated LinkedIn posts.
I hate that.
I think we've got
don't
to watch
use that.
out. I think
Full disclosure.
No. Yeah, I mean, look, it was a throwaway comment, but
I liked it.
I also think there's a bit of a watch out on LinkedIn because it's become a lot of people's primary social platform now. And we're starting to see the behaviours on there which we would condemn on an X or an Instagram. I always think it's great to show what you mean by pointing at the stuff you've done. It doesn't mean we hide from PR though.
No,
but
okay.
we probably don't chase it at the expense of getting on with stuff.
Yeah. What keeps you up at night?
The cat. It was just jumping on. I don't know. It's stuck in our room and jumping all over the place last night. So that literally that kept me up at night quite a lot.
You're a nice cat owner to let the cat in your bedroom.
Sort of push the door open a little bit. They're sneaky, aren't they?
But nothing worries you enough to keep you up at night.
No, I think a healthy sense of commitment and worry isn't really the word, but a kind of deep engagement with what's going on and how things are changing, I think is a sort of constant at the moment. I try not to keep up at night with those things.
Well, I can't keep my eyes open, so it's easy for me.
Well, that's it. That's the easy bit, isn't it? As you mid to late 40s, it's much easier to fall asleep.
What's the best piece of advice you could give someone about to start their career in advertising?
Find the thing that you want to push against that will motivate you, because that's what will give you a sort of energy and drive and purpose. If you don't have that, it'll just be a job. There's got to be something that is exciting you about it.
That's it. Hey, you did it. Wasn't so bad, was it?
Well, I'll tell you when I see the edit. Is now the Brandtech Group early on.